What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about chainsaws. More specifically, the dreaded Poulan Pro chainsaw. Now I know right away you guys are thinking, why would I even talk about a Poulan? Just throw it in the trash and buy a steel. I get that, I understand it. But today I'm going to talk about one of the main quirks with this saw, which is hard starting when the engine is hot. And I'm going to show you guys how to fix it. And then you'll have a strong running, reliable chainsaw that's half the price as a steel. So stay tuned. Now, for those of you that didn't click off this video, you're probably about ready to, because I'm going to tell you that a Poulan chainsaw is just as reliable as a steel. But before you do click off the video, just know that I've ran steels before. I learned how to operate chainsaws using steel chainsaws, and they're great saws. They really are. My dad and my uncle taught me how to use a chainsaw at a very young age, and they had steels. They always ran steels, and they had those saws forever. But they didn't have them forever because they were steels. They had them forever because they took care of the saws. So my point is, if you have one of these that you spend 150 bucks on instead of your $500 steel, and you take care of this like an expensive piece of equipment, like an expensive tool, it will last just as long as a steel. Now, these things do have quirks, and they are a little bit more testy than a steel at times. I remember my dad pulling on his steel chainsaw a lot when it was really cold out in the middle of winter and we were out cutting. But if you're just an average guy that cuts firewood on the weekends, there's nothing wrong with this. You don't have to go and spend $500 on a steel MS460. They are great saws, but it's a lot smarter to spend $150 on a chainsaw. You're not a pro, so why go and buy a pro saw? This thing, I take really good care of it. I've had it for about 3 years, and right now I'll throw the choke on. Muffler's cold, and I bet this thing will start in under 3 pulls. Starts like a dream all the time, and I'll show you guys how. First of all, take your scrunch. For those of you that didn't know, this is called a scrunch. Screwdriver, wrench, I don't know. And when you look on the top of your saw here, you'll see these 3 bolts or screws right there, there, and on the other side. So take your trusty scrunch and pull the cover off. So the main culprit with this saw not wanting to run or start back up once the engine is hot is in the spark plug. So I'll show you a super easy fix on that. Alright, so once you pull your spark plug out, you'll see this gap right here. On a new Poulan chainsaw, this gap is almost going to be non-existent. And that means that once the saw is hot, the metal expands and that gap gets even smaller. So now it's not going to be able to start because it's not creating spark in the engine. So take one of these spark plug gap tools and gap the spark plug to 30 thousandths. So gap it until there's very light drag. Right about there. Pull out, and that means that your gap is now set to 30 thousandths. Once you got your gap set, throw your spark plug back in, plug wire back on there, button everything up, put it back together, and it'll fire and start and run like a dream even when the saw is real hot. I used to have a lot of problems with this saw not starting when it was hot. I'd be running for a good hour or so, I bet, just cutting away, and the saw was running great, doing a good job, and then once I shut it off, it would not start back up. And this spark plug little hack, I guess you would call it, fixed all my problems, and now it's cutting and running just as well as any other chainsaw on the market, really. As long as you take care of them, they will run forever. Drop my phone. Alright, so the moral of the story, guys, is you don't need to spend $500 or $600 or $700 on a chainsaw if you're just an everyday guy that likes to cut firewood on the weekends. All you need to do is buy a saw and take care of it, and it'll last you. I hope that this quick fix here solves a lot of your guys' problems if you do have a Poulan Pro. It worked for me, so let me know in the comments down below if it helped you out. And also, if you want to see more chainsaw maintenance videos or chainsaw videos in general, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer some of your questions. So if you liked the video, if it helped you out, give it one of those thumbs up things. Consider subscribing to Midwest Garage if you haven't already. Got a lot of new content coming for the year 2018. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.